A royal family torn apart by murder and mystery. 5 lives lost, starting with the chief. Was this a power struggle for the throne? A sinister link to rhino poaching? Or something even darker? This is the story of the Mnisi royal family in Bushbuckridge, Mpumalanga. Let's get into it. Chief Clyde Mnisi was born on the 1st of July 1985 in Bushbuckridge in Mpumalanga province of South Africa. Bushbuckridge borders Limpopo's Mopani district. Until 2005, Bushbuckridge had been a part of Limpopo province, but a process to transfer it to Mpumalanga was initiated in 1995 and concluded a decade later in 2005 when an agreement was reached between the provincial legislatures in the two provinces. At the time of his passing, Chief Clyde Mnisi was the chief of the Mnisi Traditional Council in Bush, where his homestead was in a village called Mkuhlu. Before ascending the throne, Clyde had worked as a diesel mechanic and later became a livestock farmer and taxi owner. In October of 2022, he ascended the throne following the passing of Chief Gwagwaza Mnisi II, who died of COVID-19 alongside his mother in January of 2021 when he was 61 years old. Gwagwaza had retired from his job as a local magistrate to succeed the previous chief in 2015. His obituary indicated that he was survived by his wife, his 2 daughters, Dintswalo and Nyeleti, and his 2 sisters, Lydia and Maxine. Therefore, I don't know how Clyde was related to him, but very clearly it was not his son because he did not leave behind any sons. Clyde's reign, unlike that of his predecessor, was marked by controversies. At the time of his death, he was on bail after being suspected of being a rhino poacher kingpin in the province, allegedly working alongside top cops and former top cops in the multi-million rand syndicate. One of the top cops they were working with was a police captain and station commander. So this was in fact not the first time that the chief was implicated or suspected of being a rhino poacher. He had previously been arrested in 2018 before he was appointed the chief of the Mnisi. At that time when he was arrested in 2018, he was arrested with another former top cop, Joseph Nyalungu. This surname Nyalungu is going to come up a bit later, so this is why I'm mentioning Joseph. The previous case, in my understanding, the 2018 case, had been dropped due to insufficient evidence. And then he was once again suspected, I guess with more evidence, and he was rearrested and therefore on bail when he was killed. On the 26th of March 2023, Clyde was traveling in a Toyota Avanza with his driver near Kruger Mpumalanga International Airport outside White River when they had a flat tire and called for help. At around 11 p.m., while the two were still waiting for help, a group of 5 heavily armed men traveling in a BMW X ambushed them, going directly to the passenger side of the vehicle where the chief was seated. They fired at him, killing him in a hail of bullets. His driver was shot on the foot and received medical treatment for non-life-threatening injuries. The suspects, of course, fled and were never arrested. The chief was laid to rest in a very private ceremony at dawn on the 2nd of April 2023. His wife was not present at the private burial ceremony, which took place in their home. I'm not sure if this is a Chitsonga traditional royal family custom or if this is a Mnisi traditional council thing. However, the formal service was held right after the burial, in which his widow, relatives, and members of the public attended. His wife is seen here wearing a black veil. As you can see, there were a lot of people at that funeral, fitting for a chief. Here's a clip of his wife's tribute to him on his funeral, which was read by a family member.
To my darling husband, I have no words to describe the pain I'm in because of your sudden death. Today, I want to celebrate you. I want to thank you for giving me the life you gave me. Thank you for loving me the way that you did. Thank you for being the best dad to our kids. I love you so much, and it is so hard to think that today is your last day. It's been the hardest 7 days of my life, the first time. I haven't been able to talk to you. I miss you so much, and the kids miss you as well. We love you so much. Anginamagama lamaningi, but to say thank you for spending the rest of your life with me. Thank you for loving me, and thank you. Angathi ukuthi ngubani lo yongimela kulomhlaba. I don't know who's going to make me laugh and pick me up when I'm down. Kunzima, kepha I'm grateful that I got to share my life with you. Good night, babe webantwana bami. Lala kahle mvuleni. Ngiyohlala ngikuthanza. Rest well, my husband, and be a good angel to us.
If you're enjoying my storytelling so far, kindly remember to like this video. Also, if you have not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. 2 days after the chief's funeral, on the evening of the 5th of April 2023, while the family was still mourning his death, 2 gunmen entered the house of the chief's widow and opened fire, killing her and injuring 2 other individuals who were in the house. The chief's widow, Charlene Mathews, was 30 years old. She left behind 4 children who were all under the age of 10. The youngest one was still breastfeeding at the time of her mother's death. Family members also indicated that 2 of the children ran downstairs upon hearing a commotion and gunshots. They unfortunately witnessed their mother in a pool of her own blood. A few days after the killing, the royal family came out to deny claims that the chief's killing and that of his wife were related. They indicated that there was no link between those two. I personally found it perplexing that it's not the police who are saying that the two are not related. Family members who don't know who killed the chief, presumably they also don't know who killed his wife. So how can they definitively come out to say there is no relation between the killing of the two? I found it surprising. Let me know what your thoughts are on this particular thing. From that point, it also became apparent that members of the royal family were also worried about their own safety. Some were quoted as saying that they were so afraid because they did not know who was going to be next, as no arrest had been made. After Charlene's death, though, things became quiet for a while. The process of appointing a chief had also not been finalized. These things usually do take some time, though. For instance, when Gwagwaza died, in January of 2021, Clyde was only appointed a year and 10 months later. So it's not surprising that the process had taken about a year. On the 1st of March 2024, nearly a year after Clyde's death, his 2 younger brothers, Buhlari Nyalungu, 30, and Trinity Nyalungu, 25, were gunned down at a tavern in Kolkata, not far from their village. The 2 of them can be seen here wearing royal leopard prints at their brother's funeral. The differences here in surnames is because Buhlari and Trinity Nyalungu are Clyde's mother's children, but they are not from the Mnisi family. You might also remember earlier, I mentioned the surname Nyalungu when I was talking about the top cop that had been arrested with Clyde, whose surname is Nyalungu, Joseph Nyalungu, who is their relative from their mother's side. Once again became quiet for a while until about 15 months later. On the evening of the 6th of June 2024, the sister of Clyde Mnisi, 35-year-old Nshalati Nwitleri Nyalungu, was at a McDonald's drive-thru in Hazyview, Mpumalanga, when a VW Polo stopped next to them and 2 male suspects fired multiple shots before fleeing the scene. Nshalati can be seen here speaking at the funeral service of her brother.
Hambani mi yima hi ku tiya mi endla ngaku a swi vavi. Hi twa ku vava hi rifu ra Clyde. Sisi Mnisi. Hi twa ku vava.
She was declared deceased at the scene, while the male passenger she was traveling with was taken to the hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Some news reports gave the name as Charlotte Ntombi Nyalungu as the woman murdered at McDonald's. However, official statements from the police indicate that it was Nshalati Nutleri Nyalungu rather than Charlotte Ntombi. I'm not sure why this is. There's no indication that Clyde had two different sisters, so I believe that newspapers, in their rush to break the story, made a mistake with the names. When the Nyalungu family was interviewed about her death, they were shaken and refused to make any speculations about who was killing their family members. They also once again stated that they were afraid for their lives. They had no idea who was going to be next, and this was a very frightening experience for them to have lost 4 children of the same woman as well as their daughter-in-law. All these 4 siblings are survived by their mother. When the Mnisi family was asked to comment on the deaths, they stated that they would not be commenting on the deaths of Clyde's siblings, as those 3 were not of the Mnisi family, but rather Nyalungus. About a week after Nshalati's death, there was a body of a man that was found with gunshot wounds in the area. Rumors began to go around that the man was one of the 2 men in the VW Polo who had murdered Nshalati outside McDonald's. However, the police have rubbished these claims, indicating that, they don't comment on gossip stories. In addition, the Daily Sun has also reported that after the death of Clyde and his wife, another family member, an older man who was 70 called Eric Madala Mnisi, was also gunned down after he was appointed to succeed Clyde on the throne. This was in August of 2023 when they made this report. However, I'm mentioning this last because there are no other reports that have written about this. For every story that I have ever made on this channel, I go through different newspapers to validate what is being reported. But for this story, the Daily Sun is the only newspaper that has written about this. And over and above that, they have only written about it in one single article. The family members, either Mnisi family or the Nyalungu family, have never stated anything in the media about this. It mattered, so I don't believe this part of the story. At the time of recording this video in December of 2024, no one has been arrested for the deaths of Clyde, his wife Charlene, his brothers Buhlari and Trinity, as well as his sister Nshalati. The motive for these matters also remain unknown because there is no one that has been tied to them. Others have argued that it could relate to royal family squabbles for the royal throne. However, I don't know because the other 3 siblings of Clyde were not from his father's side of the family. They were not candidates for the throne. Others have also argued that Clyde was connected to rhino poaching allegations. He may have been killed because of that. Would that also then mean his siblings were also involved in the rhino poaching allegations, if those allegations are true? However, you might find it interesting that one of the people that Clyde was arrested with in 2018 was a man named Sidney Mabuza, who was allegedly a criminal mastermind in Mpumalanga province. After that case was dropped in 2021, Sidney Mabuza, was gunned down the same year. So that could also be something of a motive. That is it for this case. Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. What is your theory of what the motive was for the annihilation of the Mnisi Nyalungu family?